Geek. Can I get another one? Geek. One more with my feet on my desk like this. Geek. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, that felt good. It feels good to be back, and I think we got all the negotiations worked out. Am I correct? We're good to go. So, I had to ask you one question, and I didn't want to have to go here with this, but we're doing a survey, and we want to see what people like better. Is it the Kramer Booyah, or is it the Wide World of Trade Report, Mr. Geeks? Geek! Just go to the website or go to the blogs on the link to the Facebook and give your permission, whether it's the Booyah or the Geek. In any event, what we had going on, does anybody remember? Oh, and I have to tell you, this is IZ Corp Exchange Television broadcast, and this is a Wide World of Trade Report, I guess you could say special edition. Since we were back, we were doing some mind control training to try to get focused on business, and it's just mostly contract negotiations, because when you're raising the capital to start a business, it's not always that easy. And I always have to tell you through one of my guys, Mr. Mike Palmer, economics makes the world go round. Never forget that. Economics makes the world go round. So there's two brands here associated with the Wide World of Trade Report. Economics makes the world go round, and Mr. Geek. I mean, geek! Okay, and IZ Corp, Wide World of Trade Report is a member of IZ Corp Exchange in good standings. And this is Mr. Ebo Richards' Divine Sight Analysis. So for those of you, let's get back to it. For those of you who don't remember, we were going to come back and we're studying the opiate nations and economies, the economies that produce and manufacture opium, which leads to the use of heroin and drugs like that. And the reason why we do that is because this new administration, I tell you this thing would be moving. This new administration is determined as the last one in the U.S. economy. So pretty much this is a U.S. economy. Actually, we're doing Afghanistan, but it reflects the U.S. economy because the U.S. economy has a big quote epidemic of opium heroin use. So to get into it, for those of you who don't know, Afghanistan produces the Afghani, and they have about $262 US per capita, and $20 billion in GDP. So they're not really suffering. What they do is they produce 8,200 tons of opiums, and that's double the global annual consumption. So they make more than enough opium to supply the whole world. In the U.S. economy, the heroin use has jumped 5 times. It's doubled 5 times in the last 10 years. Now here's the funny. It doesn't begin with people using in the U.S. economy, according to labor statistics and health statistics, through that Wide World of Trade Report has deemed credible, and the exchange has allowed the Wide World of Trade Report to use this information. The funny is, people don't start with injecting or sniffing or smoking heroin on the streets or like at clubs and raves and stuff. The epidemic in the U.S. economy starts from prescription drugs. It actually starts from prescription, from the oxycodone to the Percocets. And these prescription drugs is what's leading to the use of illegal drugs on the streets. So there's almost 80 deaths a day. Actually, the correct number is there's 75 deaths a day, and 33 people overdose on opiates in the U.S. Economy in 2015 alone. And we say, well, why social institutions? So you say, well, what is a social institution? Perhaps a prison or colleges. So a social institution is where people gather, and you have a lot of conformed ideas, on what is good and what is bad. Because actually, taking any illegal drug, if you're not prescribed or you don't really need it, is not good, even if it makes you feel good. Just like eating French fries every day, it feels and smells and looks good, but it's not good for you. So your mind has been conformed. And social institutions can do that, not so much through peer pressure, but just like, hey, this stuff is good. If you're drinking Royal Crown Hennessy and you take 2 of these, you'll start feeling good. And then tomorrow you wake up and you probably want 2 more and another shot of Crown Royal. So I know we're doing a little extra. We got the time. Exports in Afghanistan: natural gas, dried fruit, carpets, not flying carpets, just regular carpets. Now you know where flying carpets comes from. Fresh fruit, wool, and cotton. And imports they import a lot of motor cars. Most of the government controls most of the trade in Afghanistan, and they only have 5% use the internet. So when I see that in an economy, it gives me an idea to say this economy is young. They have a lot of growth, and we were doing a study, and it's really showing that the Generation X uses the internet, but they don't really have a lot of money to spend. There's not a lot of wealthy people in this age class that just have money to burn. You know what I'm saying? Most of the money being spent in the U.S. economy is still coming from the baby boomer. And the baby boomer is just not that internet savvy. It looks good, again, in social institutions and social groups where you're like, oh, well, we don't need the internet. We don't need to print things because everybody's using the internet. There's a lot of people that use the internet, but most people who are using the internet aren't spending real dollars on real things. They're trying to keep up with trends. They're just pretty much wasting money on things they don't need. And it's just a cold, harsh reality. Most baby boomers are still giving their money away and helping people create ideas and make the world a better place. They have a better understanding than this Generation X. So when you see a place or you see a city or you see a town where there's not a lot of internet users yet, you have to be patient with that. Don't just say, well, run through it and say, well, we're everybody uses the internet, because in most parts of the world, even in the U.S. economy, the internet use is low. It's low. It might be high in those social groups, but the use is low. So don't get carried away with that. Again, my name is Mr. Ebo Richards. This has been a divine site analysis on the Wide World of Trade report. And this was a little extended session. Sorry to take up so much of your time. But you'll be seeing the Wide World of Trade report every day, 7 days a week. Go to wideworldoftradereportweebly.com. Sign up for your newsletter. It's a beautiful thing with a lot of advertising on things that go on the exchange outside of the report. And the information is pretty much priceless. I've looked through the market. We've been studying the industry, and there's not many people that's really taking the global economies and bringing it together, like with the internet use. You see right now there's a big crowd in India cheering us on, and even in Russia and China. That's because of the social media. It's just not down the block and around the corner and your friends on Facebook. These things have leaks, and it just goes all over the place, but it's not where it is yet. This is still young. So I was told I had to really keep up and bring you the report to make sure that your brand, the IZ Corp Exchange brand, gets out there. Thank you, and again, this is IZ Corp Exchange Television, And you're watching Wide World of Trade Report. And I have to always remind you, economics is what makes the world go round. Thank you and have a great day. Game!